Hi, it's Mr. Kane here, and with this video we're going to focus on looking at the equation for kinetic energy. That's the energy of that brick that's flying at our student's head. The student we hope has got potential. So we're going to look at how to use this equation and then how to rearrange it to use it in its different forms. So there's our equation. Kinetic energy is half the mass times velocity squared. And we're going to use it looking at the motion of a cheetah, the kinetic energy a cheetah has when it's running. These are beautiful to watch in action, and they breed them in a park not far from where I work. There's our cheetah. It weighs 44 kilos, running at 31 meters per second, or just over 100 kilometers an hour. There's our equation. Let's put in our numbers. Half of 44, which is half of the mass, and the velocity squared is 31 times 31. That's what squaring a number is, multiplying that number by itself. So we work through some maths, we end up with that. Final step is we end up with an answer with the units, 21,142 joules of energy. Or you could round it to 21 kilojoules of energy. A lot of energy. And that works fine when the numbers fit the equation. You've got a mass number and a velocity number. But what happens if your horrible teacher says find the mass or the velocity of something? You say bring on the triangle, and this is what it looks like. So let's put it into action. Let's find the mass of our cheetah running at 31 meters a second with 21 kilojoules of energy. We cover up what we're trying to find, the mass. It tells us how to rearrange the equation, E divided by velocity squared. So we do that. Half the mass is E divided by velocity squared. Put in our numbers, do the maths. We end up with an answer of 22, or a number of 22. That's not the answer yet. We've got a final step. Because that number is half the mass, we need to double it or multiply it by 2 and add the units. So that's how we get 44 kilos. Let's try the velocity version. What's the velocity of our cheetah? Once again, cover up what we're looking for, the velocity. Okay, rearrange the equation. Velocity squared is energy divided by half the mass. Plug in some numbers. There we go. Chug through some maths, and we end up with velocity squared equals 961. We've got a final step to do to get back to where we need to be. This is velocity squared, so we need to do the reverse of squaring, which is taking the square root of 961, and that's that there. The computer gives us this funny little tick symbol that's down here, this little tick symbol, but many of you may have seen something written like that, and the numbers go into there. They're both square root symbols. One's just the computer generated one, and one is one we'd probably use when we're handwriting it out. But square root the answer you get from the equation, add the units, and there is your answer. So there's our triangle, and if we're looking for the energy, we use that equation. If we're looking for the mass, we use that equation. But add the extra step of multiplying the answer by 2. Don't forget to add the units. Same with the velocity. We use this equation, and then we take the square root of the answer and add the units. So that's our cheetah, and that's how to use and rearrange the kinetic energy equation, and I hope that has been helpful.